Was a treasure to scuppers. It was an old-fashioned toolbox with hammers and nails, an axe and a saw, everything he needed to build a house for himself. So Scupper started to build a house all by himself out of driftwood. He built a door and a window and a roof and a porch and a floor all out of driftwood. He found some red bricks and built a big red chimney. And then he lit a fire and the smoke went up the chimney. There he's working. And there's his house. It's a pretty good house, I think. Then the stars came out. He was sleepy, so he built a bed of pine branches, and he jumped into his deep green bed and went to sleep. As he slept, he dreamed. If he could build a house, he could mend the hole in the boat. So the next day, at low tide, he took his toolbox and waded out and hammered planks, that's boards, across the hole in his ship. At last the ship was fixed, so he sailed away. You see? Fixed his ship so he could sail away. Until he came to a seaport in a foreign land. By now his clothes were worn and ripped and torn and blown to pieces. His coat was torn, his hat was blown away, and his shoes were all wore out. And his handkerchief was ripped. Only his pants were still good. But he's at the seaport in a foreign land. So he went ashore to buy some clothes at the Army and Navy store and some fresh oranges. He bought a coat and found a red one too small and a blue one just right. It had brass buttons on it. Then he went to buy a hat, found a purple one too silly. He found a white one just right. He needed new shoes. He found some yellow ones too small. Found some red ones too fancy. Found some white ones just right. Here he is with his new hat on and with his new shoes on and his new coat on with the shiny brass buttons. He has a can of polish and a cloth to keep them shiny. And he has a new clean handkerchief and a new rope and a bushel of oranges. Now Scuppers wants to go back to his ship. He looks pretty good. And at night, when the stars came out, he took one last look through his spyglass. And he went down below to his little room and he hung his new hat on the hook for his hat. And he hung the spyglass on the hook for the spyglass. And he hung his new coat on the hook for his coat. And his handkerchief on the hook for his handkerchief. And his pants on the hook for his pants. And his new rope on the hook for the rope. He put his new shoes under his bunk. And himself he put in his bunk. And here is where he wants to be, a sailor sailing the deep green sea. And this is his song. I'm Scuppers the sailor dog. I'm Scuppers the sailor dog. I can sail in a gale, right over a whale, under full sail in a fog. I'm Scuppers the sailor dog. I'm Scuppers the sailor's dog. With a shake and a snort, I can pull into port, under full sail in a fog. I think that was a nice story. I'm glad he got to go out and be in the ocean again on a boat. Would you like to ride in a boat one day? I think I might like to. Well, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I love you, I really do. But even more importantly, God loves you, and He always will. All right. Good night. I'll be reading to you tomorrow.